Hi, this is Bruce Muffson again, and what we're doing today is our old favorite friend, my favorite rapper now, Kendrick Lamar, and I want to cover his song, get my big fat head out of the way. You can see behind me swimming pools. Now, this song is very, very interesting to me because as I've been doing more and more, I guess, researching Kendrick Lamar and going through over more and more of his songs, it's interesting to discover these songs to me because I have such a different clinical perspective, and I find them very, very interesting. Here we go. This came from Good Kid, M.A.A.d City. This came off that album. And what I want to first do is I want to kind of explain where the song came from, what the perspective was. I want to break it down my perspective, and I want to go over the lyrics. Here we go. Interestingly enough, this song was used in the video game Grand Theft Auto as background music from the radio station that was playing in the video game, and also an episode of Grey's Anatomy. He also did this actual song on Saturday Night Live. Now, this is an introspective song, look at this on Wikipedia, regarding Lamar's family and his social life and the alcoholism and peer pressure he's always been exposed to. And it shows him remembering his grandfather drinking and his resulting death from, I'm assuming, alcoholism, and the reasons that led Lamar himself to become a drinker. Now, what you see in the video is desire from his peers and the social pressure is to get, that's you hear the lyrics over and over again, is to get into a swimming pool of liquor and dive into it. And you hear that rhythm over and over again, where first you get a swimming pool full of liquor, then you dive in it. And that's really an alcoholic way of looking at life. Endless amounts of alcohol, bottle after bottle, glass after glass, cup after cup of alcohol. Literally swimming pools full of alcohol. These are very descriptive lyrics from this particular song. Now, in the end, he is believing that in the end of the video, that he will possibly sleep and himself never wake up. Again, from an alcoholic perspective, is you sleep till you're intoxicated, you pass out. What's interesting also is that in the extended album, there's a shootout between Lamar and his crew and a rival gang, which results in the death of Lamar's best friend's brother. Friend's brother shot and killed. So a lot of longing and sadness which was not in the actual video that you see, but in the extended version of the video, there is a montage of Lamar actually shooting it out with another rival gang and his friend's brother getting killed. What I like, though, is that what he did very well is that the illusion to the fantasy and the illusion to the reality. So it goes back and forth, back and forth. Now, in the video itself, it starts off with he's falling. And you have broken bottles representing the alcoholism, the drinking, and there's a very attractive girl that's dancing in the video. But what's interesting is that, again, I think he's kind of saying this, is that you think that drinking will make you popular with the girls. What's really going to make you popular with is a toilet when you start throwing up in it, when you get yourself sick to your stomach. So what's interesting is that he's showing this very, very attractive girl is dancing and you're drinking, but you're not really connecting like you think you're connecting. You think you're connecting, but you're really not connecting. And it fades to reality. And that falling is that lostness. And it's interesting again to me with the red and white. I see symbolism in colors a lot. He has that white shirt on under a red jacket. And to me, the red represents like the fire, the anger, and the white represents the purity. And we've noticed this in other of his videos where he'll have on specifically a white undershirt, a white t-shirt under a jacket. And that falling and that flailing of never really knowing where he is. When you see the drinking at the party and you had that haze, so what do you use? You use red as a filter, as a blocker, and everyone has to be happy, has to have a bottle or a cup of alcohol. Everyone's dancing like this, having a good time, but you can't have a good time without having a stimulant in your body. And I think what Lamar does very well, Kendrick does very, very well, is show that for today's teenagers, it's almost like without being buzzed, without having a filter, without having that haze and that kind of like smoke in the background, you can't fit in. You must be on some level not yourself to be yourself, when it's really the opposite. You don't realize that till you get older and you actually have confidence in who you are. And what he's also saying to me is that The expensive clothes and the jewelry, what does it mean? You're unhappy. If you have to be lubed every single time you go out to feel normal, quote, quote, that's what alcoholics will say all the time. I drink to feel normal. What have you achieved? No matter how good your clothes are, how much jewelry you're wearing, how hot your girl is, what do you have? You have nothing because you're not happy. If you're not happy, you can't escape it with as much jewelry around your neck or expensive clothes or a car. It's very, very, very empty. Now, another thing also, what I liked is that his conscience kicks in about halfway through the video where it's talking to him and saying to him, are you going to make the changes? Are you going to make the changes? Do you see what you're doing to yourself? So even his inner voice is saying to him, Kendrick, this makes no sense. What are you doing? You're screwing yourself up. Now, and also when I see the red, I see the red as an allegory for evil. White purity, white heaven, red, devil, and that allegory of white and red, good and bad, heaven and hell. And to me, he's displaying that by his choice of colors and the choice of clothes. Even in the party, red, 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 hazy, darky, smoky. That to me illustrated to him that he recognizes when you put yourself in that situation, only bad things are going to happen. Even in the end, when he has that cool car that he has, that like lowrider car with the sides of the tires, he walks away from it. It's like he's not getting any pleasure out of his ride because it's empty. It's an empty feeling. Now, what also is interesting to me is that he sits in a room surrounded by bottles, and it's a dumpy apartment, and it's pictures of the past. And there's actually a picture which I froze, which I don't know if that's actually his real grandfather, but it's a picture of an older man holding like a youngster, like a grandson, and that's all he has to show for it. And the thing about alcoholism, which is so devastating, is that it's so empty. There's nothing to show for it. Like, what have you accomplished a lifetime of heavy drinking other than destroying your liver and messing your head up? What did you actually ever achieve? And to me, that's symbolic because it's like it shows to me you didn't gain anything, you didn't win anything, you didn't accomplish anything. All that drinking is so empty, and all you do is give a legacy to your kids of like drinking will make you a man, will make you popular, will make you cool. In the end, it just kills you. You fall into that pool. You're drowning because all you're sucking in is the alcohol. What's going to happen? And to me, again, that water, that purity, jumping into the pool represents the alcoholism, the surrounded by the alcohol, but also jumping in, clean myself, change myself, be something different. Now, what I want to say, what's interesting to me is going into the lyrics, is that he does an excellent job in the first chorus of pour up, drank, headshot, drank. Sit down, drank, stand up, drank. Pass out, drank, wake up, drank. Faded, drank, faded, drank. It's a course of an alcoholic. That's the mantra. Pour up, sit down. Whatever you're doing, if you're sitting down, you can drink. If you're standing up, you can drink. You pass out, you can always drink again. You're always going to wake up. So it's an endless cycle of self-abuse. And alcoholism, which we know is a disease, it's abusive. It's an abusive disease because all it does is it messes you up. And here's what he goes like this. Now, I done grew up round some people living their life in bottles. Granddaddy had that golden flask, backstroke every day in Chicago. Reminiscing. But to sad reminisce. Backstroke, he's referring to the drinking again in the pool. Everything is about alcohol. Everything. And what do you have? Nothing. But his grandfather, that's his memories. Sitting in a dumpy apartment surrounded by empty bottles. Obviously, it's a video, but we get that. We get what he's trying to bring across. And he has a picture of a grandfather, and that's all he has. There's nothing more to it. It's very, very, very empty. Some people want to fit in with the popular. That was my problem. And he says about that, I wanted to fit in. That's such a classic mantra. Guys, girls, anyone listening to this video, please, please, please learn to be yourself. And it's such a hard thing it seems so easy, and it's so hard. Be yourself. Be happy with who you are. Like yourself. Because if you have to try and appeal to other people, you're never going to be successful. Learn to like yourself. And now these videos that I'm making are not just meant for teenagers or young people. They're meant from like 3 to 83. If you don't like who you are, white, black, brown, yellow, any Martians listening in, it's the same concept. If you don't like who you are and you always have to use a substance to get high, to stay high, to fit in, you're never going to fit in because that's all your identity is, and that's no identity. That doesn't say anything about you on a positive level. So then he goes like this: pool full of liquor, then you dive in it. I wave a few bottles, then I watch them all. There was a baseball pitcher in the 50s named Ryan Doreen. He pitched for the Yankees. This guy at the time could throw, like, at that time was insane, like in the 90s. And here's the problem, though. He was very wild. So the problem with Ryan Doreen as a pitcher was the batters felt he didn't know what he was going to get at you. Either a pitch that might go right through the strike zone or a pitch that could knock you in the head because he was so wild. He was just all over the place. So either he struck you out or he walked you or you were afraid you were going to get hit and you happily struck out not to get a concussion. He was a terrible, terrible alcoholic. And actually, when I was looking through these lyrics, I remember the story that he told about himself, that he woke up one night at the bottom of a pool. I know it sounds insane when you say that, because he said in the interview, he said, obviously I wasn't there very, very long because I did wake up and I swam to the top and I climbed out. But he was so intoxicated that he went into a pool, sank to the bottom, passed out, and for a few seconds he was, unconscious. Then he had to breathe and water went into his mouth and he probably woke up startled and he realized after a few more seconds where he was and he was able to climb out and, he became went to Alcoholic Anonymous and he's been, as far as I know, until he passed away. He's probably passed away by now, but he was drug-free, alcohol-free. But that's how he lived his life. And we can go on and on and on. There's a million stories of alcoholics doing all kinds of crazy things. We get that. But here's a guy that literally, not like Kendrick, like metaphorically. This guy really lived it. He dove into a pool so intoxicated that he woke up in the bottom of the pool. And that's what I want to really clarify, is that at the end of the video, he gives you a sense of hope. Because he has someone pulling him out and saying to him, like metaphorically, he's pulling Kendrick out. And he's in his clothes, he dove into the pool, he's flailing, pull him out, a hand out. Now my point to those watching these videos, and this video in particular, put out a hand. Reach out. I'm a mental health person, quote, quote, LCSW to the stars, I'm world famous in my own mind, legend in my own mind, but you know what? Be a man, be a person, reach out to others. We got some feedback for one of our other videos, which I was just so delighted about, was the person said, like, you're giving me the hope and the ability to realize I can step in if there's no, like, quote, quote, mental health professional around, and step in and do the right thing and see the signs. And that's what we're trying to get you to realize, is because there's such dopey therapy out there. Sometimes most of it's so useless and so devastatingly, unrealistic. We're not realistic. We're just a complete waste of time. That these videos are designed to help you people realize you have the chance to step in. And when Kendrick has a guy going like this at the end of the video and pulling him out and saying to him, hey, you don't have to live a life like this. That's tremendous. And I applaud Kendrick again for saying that here, I'm exposing myself, quote, unquote, metaphorically naked, and say, I got problems. How did I hear about Kendrick in the first place? Was I was told about him that he was, one of the first to say, I got problems with substance abuse, I got problems with depression, I got problems with being suicidal. Wow. That takes a man to do that, not a boy. That's gutsy. That's impressive. And his videos are so expressive to me on a clinical level. I see so many signals out of him. That's what we're sharing here. But he's saying, like, I bought into it. Here I am, Kendrick Lamar, so famous. Some of his videos are tracking like 9, 10, 11 million hits. Yet he was unhappy. It meant nothing. So when you're in that situation where you feel like there's nothing going for you, reach out a hand, or encourage someone to reach out for help and not to live with that. Because to spend your life just abusing yourself with booze or alcohol, or we got some props today, pain pills, anxiety pills, sleeping pills, all kinds of pills. It's not the way to live, not the way to go. So I want to say again, I like the way he goes the back and forth with the falling, and the parties that you realize in the end mean nothing. He did a great job with that. And the red on the white, the back and forth, the heaven and hell, impressive to me. So I want to close with this again. It was a great song. This is one of my favorite videos. I actually like this video very, very much. I actually like the lyrics. Did a great job. And he closes with this. Pour up drank, headshot drank, sit down drank, stand up drank, pass out drank, wake up drank, faded drank, faded drank. Don't do it. Get out of the pool. Everyone, thank you for watching. And again, we encourage your thoughts. We encourage your videos. We want, not videos. We want your thoughts. We want your statements. We want to hear from you. Any comments, good and bad, we want to hear it. Thanks again. Take care.